Welcome to Walking Out of a Movie. This is our special edition for the 91st Annual Academy Awards. My name is Zachary.
My name is Ron.
My name is Matt. And our first category is Best Actor in a Supporting Role. And the nominees are Mahershala Ali for Green Book, Adam Driver for Black Klansman, Sam Elliott, A Star is Born, Richard E. Grant, Can You Ever Forgive Me, and Sam Elliott in Vice. So, I think in this particular category, there's strong work put across the board, I would definitely say. I'm going to go ahead and just shoot down some things I don't think have a prayer of doing it. Adam Driver, Black Klansman. I really enjoyed the performance. It was nice. I didn't find it very groundbreaking or anything. There was a lot of better roles. Matter of fact, I was hoping Topher Grace would get a nomination for playing David Duke because it's kind of a chilling portrayal demonstrating how effective somebody can be with charm and with dignity when their agenda behind all that is actually hate. Sam Rockwell is a good actor. He's very talented. I found his performance in Vice to be not much more than an impression. He was an effective puppet for Christian Bale's very powerful Dick Cheney. And I really felt like Sam Rockwell was cast in that role basically because of sort of the likeness. He sort of resembles George W. And he did a fine job. I did not believe it was Oscar-worthy. I'll tell you
that's
what
a tough
think.
question of are these awards worthy this year from this performance, or is it just some type? This is the age-old debate over the Oscars. Do we have awards that are given to people for a body of work, even though they're just nominated for one specific role? You know.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I wonder about that too.
That is a good question. That the longevity award, as it were. That I don't know. That's kind of a tough one. But I will tell you what I think should win and what I think is gonna win. Actually, that's also based off the longevity conversation we had. What I think is going to win is I think it's a pretty good safe bet for the Academy to reward Sam Elliott for A Star is Born. He hasn't nabbed any awards yet in the season, and it would be a real interesting way for the Academy to be like, what about this? And if they do award him for it, I would hope it would be for two facets. One, for an amazing performance in the movie that is powered by restraint and then later emotion through just pure reaction. His best part in the entire film, he doesn't say a word. And for an actor to convey the sort of power and to move the story along the way it needs to, I think is a monumental achievement. So I think the Academy will give Sam Elliott the award for A Star is Born.
Ron, I know you have strong opinions on this.
Sam Elliott is one of my favorite actors, but I felt like he had one of those roles like in Roadhouse. He was there. We acknowledged him. Had a couple scenes, but to Matt's point, maybe this is the only one that he's going to get because he's not going to get cast as a lead anymore. Yeah. I wouldn't think. He's a great actor. But I don't think that he should get this. If anything, I think it should be Mahershala Ali. But he's kind of a nobody, but he's on Homeland now. Or he was on Homeland, and now he's the new True Detective. I believe.
Regarding him, if I can weigh in on this for a moment, I found it really difficult to determine who was the lead and who was the supporting actor in Green Book. You know, Viggo Mortensen is a wonderful actor, but really I felt like they shared the screen equally, both as far as power of performance and everything. So I was thrown a little bit when he was nominated for a supporting actor role in Green Book. Mm-hmm. But
he was probably billed that way because Viggo is a bigger actor, has more star power.
I guess. I mean, as far as all the candidates, I think Mahershala Ali is the top contender in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if you compared to even like Adam Driver, he had a great performance, but
is it Oscar worthy?
Yeah, I would, if I would order them in least to best, I would say it would be Sam Rockwell, Richard E. Grant, Adam Driver, Sam Elliott, and Mahershala Ali. That would be my order of that's my pick.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's my pick, is Mahershala Ali for Green Book.
Yeah.
It's he carries so much dignity in that role, and he plays it with the right amount of the balance between restraint and driving emotion, never letting people get the best of him in the age of segregation, but still, when he needs to be vulnerable, it comes spilling out, and his chemistry with Viggo Mortensen is tremendous. I kind of chuckled a bit when I started watching the movie, because it's basically Driving Dr. Shirley, but it doesn't matter because it still finds this really amazing, tender friendship at the heart of it. And for a PG-13 movie, it actually shows the brutality of the racism and the segregation. And much like BlacKkKlansman, I think it's a very relative film for our times, and probably something that we as Americans could all use. I really enjoyed it, and I'd like to see a lot more. I feel like Mahershala Ali could go into the Denzel category if he gets more roles, more exposure. Now he's doing True Detective season 3, so yeah, I think the world's going to see a lot of him.
Yeah,
and not just remember him as the guy from Moonlight.
And the topic that you just mentioned about prejudice and racism, I do want to address when we get into the Best Picture category. But for this category, I would say he really stole the show. His performance was much more in depth and filled with layers. And I mean, when I watched it, I thought I was watching a leading role. And
yeah, I thought
he
the
really
story
stole the
was.
show.
I mean, it really was about him. It really was about his character. I mean, that it was only like the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes before we saw him for the rest of the film. So
that's true.
But as far as if we were to pick just the movies out of these, it would be between BlacKkKlansman and Can You Ever Forgive Me? Green Book and BlacKkKlansman. They were just really powerful movies. So, but I think that probably Sam Elliott is going to get this one, even though I think it should go to Ali.
Yeah, agreed. I think the Academy will feel it's safe to award Sam Elliott, and I think the Maverick Award, the one people are going to want, it's like, I call it the Pulp Fiction Award because I believe a lot of people wanted Pulp Fiction to win Best Picture in '94, but it had to go to Forrest Gump. I think people want Mahershala Ali to win for Best Supporting. It might go to Sam Elliott. And these are the nominees for Best Actress in a Supporting Role: Amy Adams, Vice; Marina di Tavira for Roma; Regina King, If Beale Street Could Talk; Emma Stone for The Favorite; Rachel Weisz for The Favorite. The ladies came out swinging this year. This is a tough one. It really is. Again, I will acknowledge roles that I thought were good, but probably shouldn't see gold on Oscar night. I really hate to say it because she's one of my favorite actresses ever. Amy Adams in Vice. She did a very good job. She's very serviceable, and I really love seeing her collaborations with Christian Bale. I think their chemistry is great, and they can also change that chemistry from love to hate to indifference between pictures. It was run-of-the-mill work for her in Vice, and I know this is the year of diversity, and I love the female empowerment, but Vice was the gentleman's show. It was the men who drove that film, really made it work. And I loved her scene with Christian Bale where they move into a Shakespearean slant of things, which was actually a really cool narrative device. Kudos to Adam McKay.
It was cute. It was very cute.
It was cute. Yeah. I thought that was really interesting. They took a lot of chances in that film. But Amy Adams has done better work other places and gone unrewarded. Which pretty much brings me, if we're going to talk about what I, again, think is going to win and what should win, what I would like to win would be one of the females from The Favorite. I thought The Favorite was a gas, and that is a movie that the men stay in the background and the women drive the story, they drive the plot, they drive the emotion. And just the beautiful, just the war between Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz in the film should mirror their battle for the Academy Award, because they both put up everything and give up nothing. The main surprise of work came to me for Emma Stone. You've never seen her like this. You've never seen her so brutal and unflinching and laser focused in her priorities to gain the Queen's favor. I thought she took a lot of chances, and I really liked some of the choices she made. And I love Rachel Weisz. She did really excellent in this role too. It's basically the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. It's hard to split those roles up. I think I would like Emma Stone to win for The Favorite. I thought what she brought was just striking and very, very entertaining, and I really enjoyed her in that film a lot.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, Matt, in that for Amy Adams, for the performance in Vice, I felt that she held her own with all the male actors, and there could be some debate on whether this particular performance is Oscar-worthy compared to the others, because you always have to weigh that. But I thought she did a brilliant job. I thought she kept up with all the other actors. I thought there was amazing performances across the board in that movie. As did I in The Favorite. I thought all of the performances were amazing, and I loved all of the actors, all four of the primary characters in that story, despite the fact that I loathed that film. And we'll hit that again a little bit more later. But I mean, as far as predictions, I mean, I feel bad when two actors or actresses are nominated within the same category, because it always seems to be some type of competition. But I thought everybody in The Favorite and everybody in Vice did a great job, and if it goes to any of those three, I'd be satisfied and I would not be upset.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's they're all good choices, and I wouldn't be that upset if Amy Adams got it for Vice, because once again they might just be rewarding. I can't say they've been rewarding a body of work. She's got an Oscar before.
True.
But the award will probably go to Regina King for Beale Street.
That's my vote. I think that her performance was very, very powerful. Honestly, I think Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz, I think either one of them could have played either one of those roles. They were kind of interchangeable.
They are interchangeable, I agree.
And I kind of agree with Matt that Amy Adams, I think, in my review of my SAG Award picks, I called her, she basically kind of faded away into like a speaking background role. She had like that one scene that was kind of cool when she was addressing, when she was on the place when she was on the podium taking the place of Cheney, but it was okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and Marina Del I can't even pronounce her last name. I really liked her performance in Roma, but for me personally, subtitles are it's hard to focus on like the nuances of the actor, because I'm constantly going up and down and reading.
That can happen, yeah.
Could understand that.
So, but we can get into Roma later, because I have other great opinions about that. Okay. But I think you're right. I think Regina King, I think, should win. But I don't know. Emma Stone, I don't know. I don't think Regina King has any Oscars. I think she's been nominated once, but I'm not actually
And we
sure.
see that year in, year out as well, where someone newer to the world does not get properly acknowledged despite a brilliant performance, and then they figure they'll just make it up to them if they stick around. So
right.
Yeah.
And Mahershala Ali's already won an Academy Award, so he might not get it for best. That's what worries me about it for Best Supporting Actress, is they might figure, well, they're new, they'll stick around, and they'll ignore a blistering performance just because, well, we'll get them later.
Yeah.
But Regina King had the power, had the drive, and drove just the right spike into just she had it all: race and love. She addressed everything, and was just a woman to not toy
and she
with.
definitely
And
carried
her body of
and she
work,
definitely
too.
carried that movie. You know, she, despite being a supporting character, she was the
And she wasn't in it
lifeblood
alone.
throughout.
Yeah, I was waiting, even though I was looking at her for this. I was still, as an audience member, looking. When is she coming back? What's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, she keeps you glued to the screen. I agree.
Yeah. But also Regina King she's just a brilliant actor, and I think that for her body of work, then maybe she does. I mean, that's again back to what we were saying before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are my choices. I would say me personally would like it to go to Emma Stone for the favorite. I believe Regina King's going to walk away with the Oscar that night.
I think it's going to be one or the other. It's not going to be Rachel Weisz. It's either going to be Emma Stone or Regina King, and kind of right there with you. But I think Regina King should get it, not Emma Stone.
Okay.
Okay, so up next is Best Animated Feature, and the nominees are Incredibles 2, Isle of the Dogs, Mirai, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I had done a review of Isle of the Dogs, and I really, really liked it. Of course, I'm a big fan of stop motion. But I think it's going to be probably between Incredibles 2 and Ralph Breaks the Internet. Now, I did see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I thought it was unique. But I'm also a fan of the Marvel stuff, but I am nowhere near versed enough to even talk about it. But I did really enjoy the movie. It was funny and interesting, and it took a pretty cool twist on the Spider-Man universe.
I liked what they did with the animation. I thought it was experimental without being distracting, and really, I think it pulled you into the story like in an old comic book fashion, with a modern sensibility, and I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah, I agree with that. It like the textures on the faces and a lot of other elements were really, really cool. I did see Mirai, and it's a classic, Japanese animation of do you guys, either one of you guys remember Belle and Sebastian? It was an animation back in like the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, or something like that, where big round heads, and when they cry, it's just classic. Beautifully drawn, and a really interesting story. But
it looked like an interesting story with time travel elements and family dynamics and all that stuff.
Yeah, the little boy has a new sister, and he's young, probably 5 years old, and then there's this family tree that's in their yard that takes him to time travel, and he gets to meet his older sister, or his sister when she's older, and her mom, or his mom when she was young, and his grandfather, and it's really, really great story. But it's subtitled, and I really don't see this winning an Oscar, even though it's right up there with all of these. I mean, it's definitely worthy of the nomination. I really liked Incredibles 2, but I've been waiting for Incredibles 2, so maybe I was a little excited about it.
Do you guys think it's going to be hurt by the fact that it's a sequel? Toy Story didn't get fully recognized until like the third one.
Interesting.
What do you guys think?
Well, I think
I would
the
say
first
no.
one was better than the second one.
Yeah, I actually felt that for between 16 years between films, they stuck the landing, and they picked up the story like they never stopped making the films, and it's always such a game voice cast, and they ramped up the action. I know that's it's a CG movie, they can do whatever they want. Yeah, sure, but that motorcycle chase between Elastigirl and the runaway train, that was some pulse-pounding stuff. I thought
really cool. Yeah,
they managed to show some really amazing visuals in that movie. Could it be rewarded as a sequel? Sure. One of the most awarded darling films is The Godfather Part 2. And I think a sequel like this, which I felt not only lives up to the original, but in some ways transcends it, definitely deserves its accolades. So I would say it's a safe bet. And once again, it's Pixar, so the Academy loves to give them the award, and they frankly usually deserve it.
Mm-hmm. You know, on this same topic, it's going to be interesting to see if we see that little problem that arises in the Academy Awards that's happened before, where they don't honor something that was extremely commercial. You know, we're in kind of a game changer year. Yeah, we're in kind of a game changer year because of Black Panther being nominated for Best Picture, but traditionally you could almost count on the award going to an independent film that maybe ran in 100 theaters nationwide, and they would completely discount any type of film that was like a superhero film or a Marvel film or anything like that. So it's interesting to see within the animation category, will Incredibles be hurt? Will Ralph Breaks the Internet be hurt? And will it go to things that fewer people have seen?
Ralph Breaks the Internet will be hurt, I think. It didn't have a very long legacy. It came and went. I heard no word of mouth on it except from other parents and stuff like that. And the first one, while it does have its fans and is beloved, it just doesn't sit on the shelf with other things like Toy Story or Nemo. You know, like WALL-E. WALL-E's one of my favorite Pixar movies of all time, and its legacy is all but gone.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think Ralph Breaks the Internet has a prayer, even though that's the one I want to win.
And it's very topical. If anyone who's watching this hasn't seen it, they really should, because it dives into all the important subject matter of cinema today. You know, friendships and problems with the internet, and they address all the subtle things and all the in-your-face things with equal aplomb. And it is a great and brilliant and important film for people to see. Will it win an Oscar? We'll see.
Well, that's also interesting too, is that like Spider-Man could be kind of compared to Incredibles, but not really Ralph Breaks the Internet. And Isle of the Dogs is just completely in a different category. But it is.
I agree with that.
Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
And I would like actually, and from like an artistic standpoint, I mean, to say best animated feature, it's kind of interesting because it's kind of a broad category, I guess. But it's also like for best picture. But I really think that Spider-Man and Incredibles are very similar. Isle of the Dogs is more artistic, kind of more like Mirai. Personally, I'd like to see Isle of the Dogs win, but I think that it's not as mainstream, and I know it didn't sell as well as Incredibles 2 or Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah.
But also Spider-Man won. Didn't they win the Golden Globe for animated?
Yeah. Spider-Verse did win the Golden Globe, which is
so. And usually, I mean, I do see some trends between the Golden Globes and the Oscars.
There are some, but that's not a lock. They've shown statistically, they're like, if you're following the Golden Globes all the way to the Oscars, be prepared for disappointment because there are significant breaks.
Well, I would hope that Isle of the Dogs wins. I think Incredibles 2 should win over Spider-Man, but that might be just a personal opinion.
I'm not a huge fan of Wes Anderson. I've yet to find any substance among his style. And if Isle of the Dogs wins and Coraline didn't years ago, then I'm turning my back on this category.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
I mean, as far as a Wes Anderson film, you know, it had all of his signatures, in my opinion, but it was also a little bit different than his live-action stuff, so... Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
My dad didn't like the movie, so...
Yeah. But we do have a review on Walking Out of a Movie of Isle of Dogs, so you can click on that now.
Ding! We also have a review of Incredibles 2.
That's right, with a special guest reviewer.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you know, pause this and go watch that now.
And then come right back.
All right. The next category is...
So actress in a leading role are Salsa Aprico for Roma. That will be Glenn Close for The Wife. Olivia Colman for The Favorite. Lady Gaga for A Star Is Born. And Melissa McCarthy, Can You Ever Forgive Me? I really thought that Lady Gaga's performance was impressive. It's really the first time I've ever seen her as an actor. But I don't think that she compares to Melissa McCarthy. Melissa McCarthy is going to be my choice for Can You Ever Forgive Me? Glenn Close, I know she won the actor, and I'm pretty sure she won the Globe. I don't remember. But I really thought that her performance was, she was just stoic through the whole thing. There wasn't a lot. I mean, there was some range that she could show in her eyes, that, like she wanted to punch somebody or whatever, but it just didn't seem like there was a lot of opportunity for her to really use the tools that she has. Now, Melissa McCarthy, on the other hand, had a really nice, juicy role, and I think she was able to really take advantage of it and really show her chops as an actor and as a side of, besides a comedian. The lady that played the Roma, which I'm pretty sure is the maid, she did a very, very great performance. But again, I don't think that the Oscars are going to give this any kind of light. And Olivia Colman in The Favorite, I think she's a brilliant actress. I've only seen, this is like the first time I've really seen her, so she doesn't like, I really enjoyed her performance. I think she's a great actress, but I don't think that that her performance is worthy of an Oscar.
I loved Olivia Colman's performance in The Favorite. I think Melissa McCarthy did a lot of solid acting work in Can You Ever Forgive Me? Because she had to carry that film.
Yep.
And to carry such a dramatic piece with such nuanced flair, was I'm sure it was difficult and challenging, and definitely my hat is off to her.
Yes.
I mean, for me, it's a toss-up between those two, Olivia Colman and Melissa McCarthy. I'd be fine with the actors getting any type of acknowledgement and accolades as long as we do not reward the movie. Melissa McCarthy, if rewarding Melissa McCarthy for this means that we can get fewer movies than the new Ghostbusters film and whatever that junky film we reviewed was.
Yes.
What was that college one? It was Back to School, but gender switched.
Yeah,
I've put the title out of my head.
Well, you shit all over
one of my
that
only
movie.
30-second reviews. Oh yeah, it was awful. Check that out here. I'll see if I can put a link for it. But that was miserable. But yeah, those are my two favorites.
I'd be happy to see Olivia Colman walk off with the Oscar. It's not who I want to win, but when I think back, God, it's amazing. British actresses are just born to play monarchs.
They really
that's why
are.
whenever they cast an American, when they cast an
Must be
American
the
as a British
inbreeding.
monarch, I get all pissed off. I'm talking about people like Claire Foy in The Crown, Dame Judi Dench, Kate Blanchett, all these amazing. Olivia Colman, she does something in a movie that really made me sit up. She yells at one of her footmen to look at me so she can scream, "Don't look at me." I thought that was
a great moment.
What an amazing piece of acting right there. And then later on, she goes through just the gamut of emotions. I mean, yeah, she's all powerful, but she knows she's not the one making all the decisions. A lot of that's going on in the background. She has her one lapse where she's threatening to commit suicide, but it's really just to get the attention of Rachel Weisz,
And I totally believed that she was struggling with some type of disorder, some type of health
dementia
problem.
or some sort of mental
well, physically,
thing.
she portrayed somebody with gout amazing. She was just ultimately crippled, but she never let it dampen her spirit or her power. But she, much like the girls around her, it's a love triangle, basically. Everyone needs somebody, and no one is more needy, I think, than Olivia Colman's Queen in that movie. I'd love to see her walk away with it, but I am praying to the movie gods that Lady Gaga gets the Academy Award. I think it would mirror. I think it would mirror what happens in the film. A Star is Born, A Star is Rising. I found the emotions and the range that she got from God knows where for that movie. I cried many times in that movie, and there was just so much work she was putting forth. I thought she carried the film, not Bradley Cooper, and ultimately I just found myself involved in her little world when she was just a waitress at the drag bar, and then she's the biggest star in the world, and then later on, she has to sing the one song she never wanted to sing, and that's how the film ends. I would love for her to get it, but it hasn't really happened yet in the award season. I think she's losing steam.
I think the story is familiar to me. Oh yeah, that's right. This is the 4th remake of this story.
It doesn't matter.
So, I mean, okay, all right. So,
the
so what's up
beats
next,
are ancient.
there, Matt?
I'll give you that. The story beats are ancient, but if we're just talking about acting, I thought a superstar performer like Lady Gaga, when they dip their toe into acting, it's usually one end of the spectrum or the other, and I thought that I couldn't believe how affecting she was.
Yeah, I get that, but I would definitely put her at not last place, but kind of last place. It would have been Glenn. I think Glenn Close was a better performer than Lady Gaga. I think Olivia Colman was better than Lady Gaga. But at the same time, I think it was a powerful introduction to her. But I mean, other than that,
yeah, for a film debut, yeah, it's definitely pretty strong.
Yeah. So,
but the Universal, our we seems to agree on Olivia Colman.
Yeah. So, but I think that Melissa McCarthy deserves it. But I think you're right. They're going to go with Glenn Close.
Yeah.
I don't think she has an Oscar, does she? Oh, she does.
Did she get one for Fatal Attraction?
Fatal Attraction, I think. Yeah.
I want to say she won for Fatal Attraction in '87. And the next category is
actor in a leading role are Christian Bale for Vice, Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born, Willem Dafoe at Eternity's Gate, and Rami Malek, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Viggo Mortensen for Green Book. We've already kind of talked about Viggo. I don't think he should be in this category. I think he shouldn't even be the lead for that movie.
Yeah, I think it should be supporting role.
Yep, I totally agree. Bradley Cooper, I don't think should be in this category either. He's a great actor, but he also directed and wrote and did all the fixins for this movie, and I think in that vein, something has to give.
If it was an Oscar for the if it was an Oscar for the best Sam Elliott impression, he would definitely take it home.
Yeah. So and then Christian Bale is one of my most favorite actors. My pick is actually Rami in Bohemian Rhapsody, but I think Christian Bale is going to get it. Willem Dafoe's performance I thought was really, really good, but at the same time, I think it was an artistic piece more than him actually portraying him. So long shots of him walking in the forest and stuff like that, and he did have a couple scenes where he was able to show, and he looks so much like him. It's just incredible. Mm-hmm. But I think that it's going to be probably Christian Bale, because he deserves it, especially with like Machinist and other character. When he goes in, he goes all in. But I would like to see Rami win. But
I would say that both of those roles in Vice and in Bohemian Rhapsody for Rami Malek and Christian Bale, they were both transformative roles. They physically changed. You as an audience member, I definitely got lost in the performance, and yes. I thought I was watching the real people.
Yes.
So definitely a compliment for both. Yeah.
Well, Willem Dafoe also kind of I kept I think they added extra beard
Some prosthetics and stuff.
Or some of the makeup, because he looks just so much like. Or I mean, obviously we don't know what the man looked like, but his paintings, his self portraits, really show his his features and his looks. So so in that aspect, yes, but not nearly as transformative as Christian Bale and Rami.
I will respectfully disagree on Bradley Cooper's nomination. I actually found that while it was indeed a Sam Elliott impression, the entire film, they managed to address that in the movie and make it actually palpable, and I enjoyed that. I think Bradley Cooper takes aw shucks to a new level in this movie. He's never ever once affected by his own stardom. And you can see he only really comes alive as a character when he's interacting with Lady Gaga or his brother. He could care less that he's a rock star. This is a guy that is looking for someone to love him, and the tragic end of that story again is another moment that is conveyed without a word and just looks. And I think you know the scene I'm talking about. That being said, Christian Bale can do this stuff in his sleep, man. He alters his physical appearance. He alters his voice. He's the Marlon Brando of our generation. He becomes the guy. And my wife warned me. She says, just because it's effortless, don't think it doesn't deserve acclaim. I'm like, you're right, because I saw Vice, and he is amazing. It's a chameleon performance. It is frightening sometimes how much he does look like Chaney.
Yeah.
I believe Vice, Christian Bale should win. I think he should win for Vice. I think Rami Malek is picking up far too much steam right now. I think he's a lock for Bohemian Rhapsody. He's the people's champion. Freddie Mercury is the most beloved frontman in history. I have not heard a bad word about Bohemian Rhapsody, even though it's wildly overrated. But his physical performance as Freddie on the stage, he might as well have been brought back to life.
That's what made the movie for me.
Staggering. Too. Yes, I completely agree. I think Christian Bale broke great ground in Vice and did a really good job, and I think that's what should win. I think the Academy cannot ignore what Rami Malek did in Bohemian Rhapsody. I think it's going to go to him. Or they risk pissing off the fans, because everyone seems to want Rami Malek to win.
All right, so on to the next category.
This category is for nominees for Best Director. We have Spike Lee for Black Klansman, Paweł Pawlowski for Cold War, Yorgos Lanthimos for The Favorite, Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, and Adam McKay for Vice. My opinion on the Best Director category is that they do have a certain amount of culpability for the story in the feature. So there are obvious things you can look at where if something is directed badly, you can spot those. But in this supposedly best of category, if something has a fundamental flaw in the film, we do need to lay some of the blame squarely at the feet of the director. And I go into that because The Favorite was an awful film. I despise that film. Beautiful, beautiful performances. I loved all the actors in it. I loved their performances. One of the worst stories, and definitely the worst movie that I've seen of all of these films. So I'll step off my soapbox for a second. But Cold War, I don't think it'll win. It's Ron, you've been mentioning subtitled films being at a disadvantage,
and also
this
Ram.
Is not only is this subtitled, but it's black and white as well. So, I know we've got Roma as well, but I don't know. I didn't see anything. I was only able to go through part of it. I didn't see anything in it that stood out as this is absolutely amazing. I thought Spike Lee in Black Klansman did a great job. I have not seen all of his films over his career, but I've seen a number of them, and I felt like this was one of his best. So if you're looking at any type of legacy or body of work, this definitely was excellent on Spike Lee's part. Adam McKay as well. You know, Adam, I'm not always necessarily a fan, and you know, I'm not a fanboy for Adam McKay, but I thought that Vice was brilliant.
Yes,
across the board in every way.
Yeah,
story, artistic expression.
Yes,
you know, all of the pieces coming together. Brilliant performances, great editing. You know, I know I'm fawning all over it right now, but I thought Vice was brilliant. Definitely could be recognized for the work of its director, as with BlacKkKlansman. So honestly, with either BlacKkKlansman or Vice, I would be happy with either of them winning. If I had to vote, I would give a slight edge to Vice just because I loved every element of it so much. What do you guys think?
I think the Cold War, you were talking about the choices that you can see that the director makes or doesn't make, and how it kind of hurts the film. What I felt about the Cold War is that the interactions between, I get, you know, it's a period piece. It's shot mainly in Poland and France after right after World War II, and so the emotions and the choices that the characters made, or that the director insisted, or whatever, was very weird and strange. So I don't know if that's just the way those people were back then, but it was very weird, very strange movie, and I found myself like not really getting into it. It's like it was, I don't know, it's just weird. Now the favorite I found kind of funny, but I also, there was something that was just like really weird about that movie too, and I don't know if it was just the way that the shots were, the way they were organized, or just the story.
Oh, I can tell you. I can tell you what was wrong with the favorite.
Yeah.
What's that?
I felt that was the worst directed feature out of all of our Academy offerings. Why this director did not use the discipline of photography and decided to use a fisheye or a walleye lens from time to time.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, granted, the production design is beautiful. I wanted to see every inch of the decoration, the lighting, the costumes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But by using that fisheye lens, I started to feel like I was watching a period piece through surveillance cameras, which yanked me right out of the movie.
Which that could have been the vibe he was going for, but how it translated to the audience, I think fell short.
Yeah, and he's obviously a student of Stanley Kubrick. The camera is never locked off. It is floating, tracking, dollying the entire time. And the problem is, when you see someone shooting like Stanley Kubrick, you just start to miss Stanley Kubrick. So it was so damn distracting for me to watch how this movie was directed, and I actually had to lean on the actors' performances, because it was the only thing that got me through, because I was hoping for something like Dangerous Liaisons or Amadeus, and it wasn't. It was, you know, it was a puff piece.
It could have been, and you know, maybe a different director could have put it into a better standing.
Oh, like Mike Nichols would have done great with this. Rest his soul. Neil Jordan could have added some eroticism to it. I mean, there are a lot of great directors with better European sensibilities that would have fit this better than Yorgo. I wasn't impressed. And a little chapter breaks in between with the dialogue that is going to be said. I'm like, stop being cute. Just make your damn movie.
And there was that weird font that just like took me out of the movie every time it came on. I couldn't even read the credits. I could not even read the credits. It was nuts. What did you like? What did you like though, Matt?
Oh, what did I like? I'm sorry. I got totally distracted on the one I hated. Adam McKay hit a grand slam with Vice. It moves like The Big Short is what it is. If anybody liked The Big Short, I highly recommend you check out Vice, because they use all those sensibilities. They use those interesting narrative devices, breaking fourth wall from time to time. and it moves. It's fast. It keeps you involved, and I really, really enjoyed that. So I loved Adam McKay's Vice. Spike Lee, Black Klansman, knocked me out, and I am not a Spike Lee fan. I think this is the movie he's been waiting his whole life to make. I felt like it was his masterpiece, and it addressed race in the most honest way and took you to many different perspectives, and I thought it was a stunning, funny, humorous, and well mastered piece of work. I thought he was really in control of his craft this time around.
And I want to talk about that more when we get into the Best Picture nominees. But I agree.
Yeah, I think that now Roma. What do you think about Roma, Matt?
I think Alfonso Cuarón cashed a paycheck. I'm sorry, I haven't seen the entire film, but from the things I've seen, he's directed better Harry Potter movies. And I'm serious about that. I think Prisoner of Azkaban is a tremendously directed film, and that's from Alfonso Cuarón's sensibilities. Roma was a downer. I couldn't find myself visually engaged either. Again, another film that has to rely heavily on its subject matter and its performances.
Yeah, and it was interesting, the story, but at the same, it seemed like a film noir to me. It seemed like almost like a French student film, especially with a lot of the camera stuff. Like camera would just sit in one spot, and then they just pan from one way to the other.
Yeah,
and it was like someone couldn't rent a slider for the day.
There it is again.
So, but I think what's going to happen is neither the Cold War or Roma is going to even be. They're going to be like, as far as they're not going to win, and I think I didn't really like Favorite either. So I don't think that's going to do well. I think it's going to be between Black Klansman and Vice. And with the Oscars nowadays,
it'll be Spike.
Especially with Black Panther being nominated, exactly. I think that whole hashtag Oscars too white that was like 2 years ago. I think that's still chugging along, and I think that because the Oscars are what, like 90% white, 90% male, and 90% old.
Yeah.
So I think that Vice was a very powerful movie, but my choice would be Black Klansman, but Vice is like a very, very close second, and only because I know Spike Lee's work, and I've always loved his stuff. So.
And now, the categories for Best Picture: Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, A Star is Born, and Vice. And Roma. What a field. Really, I got stuff to say on all of them. I'll start off right away with Black Panther. Very happy to see it nominated. It was a tremendous movie. If it wins, I will be happy, but I will be bittersweet because again, the same problem I had with the conversation earlier. I don't want Black Panther to win when The Dark Knight should have won years ago, giving actual legitimacy to what just happened to be a blockbuster, but was the best picture of 2008. So I'm pulling for Black Panther. I hope they win. I think it would be really, really great for the cast and all involved, and I think it would be a blowing open the floodgates to make more diverse films. And honestly, I think we need that right now. And if anybody out there has a brain, when I say diversity for more films, that doesn't mean anti-white, because that's how some people are going to take it. And frankly, if it is, I don't care. White people have been making amazing movies for decades. I think it's time for... I want to see more Mexican films. I want to see more Asian films. I want to see more... you know what would be cool? Films by people on Easter Island. That would be amazing.
There you go.
Anyways, I don't think Black Panther's going to win. I don't think the Academy has the balls. I loved Black Klansman. I think it was again... I would be very happy if BlacKkKlansman walked away with Best Picture. I really enjoyed it. I thought Spike was just top of his game. The acting was on point. Denzel Washington's son, John Washington, was fantastic. All around. I loved Alec Baldwin's cameo in the beginning. I thought that was really cool how that was done. I think it's a winner all around. I'd like to see it win. Bohemian Rhapsody was an entertaining picture. I didn't find it very dynamic. I actually felt like it was a 2-hour music video that dreamed it was a biopic and that would work a lot better as a stage musical. Too many montages. The passing of time I felt was completely unbelievable. I believe the actors got their call sheets and now it's 1970, now it's 1972, now it's 1980. Yeah. I just felt the movie was hauling ass too much. And the first half was a lot of fluff, but the second half, when obviously Freddie is moving towards his fate and moving towards Live Aid, I think the tone shift is very powerful, and it kind of takes on a whole new life. I almost feel like they're two separate movies. This film is not going to be anchored by anything more than Rami Malek's phenomenal performance. He's the star. He's the one that shines. There was great ensemble work from the guys that played Brian May and Mary. But this is Rami's show. It's his movie. It's his to lose for Best Actor. I don't think it deserves Best Picture just because of the stunning. Just like when I saw Michael Mann's Ali, I thought Will Smith's performance as Ali was transcendent in a very poor movie. The Favorite, it was a hoot. It was a gas. There have been better biopics. I liked Quills more than The Favorite, and that movie didn't get enough play. So when something as insipid as The Favorite comes along, which once again has to lean on its actresses, no go. Green Book has been done before. It's Driving Miss Daisy Part 2, and I don't want to dismiss it as such, but it's great that it's out now. I'm glad that it is because it's very relevant for our times in a divided America, and I think there's fantastic performances. But as a whole, I just felt like the story beats were too familiar. It's been done before. I was a step ahead of it almost all the way. Roma's a downer. Roma's a downer, and the Academy really loves to reward movies like that.
Yeah, it's true.
But the direction's uninspired, and I just don't find the subject matter all that compelling. There's better fish to fry. A Star is Born, I think, is a piece of classic American cinema. It's a sweeping romance that we have not seen in a long time. It's got an epic scope, tremendous musical soundtrack, and really just as a bullet point list for Academy Best Pictures, hits every single one of them, except for writing. It's the script is again very much by the numbers, but that's probably because this is the fourth time around that this film's been done.
Yeah.
Vice has I don't know, man. It's got all the power of a Ted Demme film. I remember I felt like Vice was very close to the movie Blow, in the way it shows somebody's manic rise and how they got so much power so fast. But it makes it fun. I actually found Vice to be a lot of fun. I was really interested in the way things moved from one event to another. And Christian Bale's Dick Cheney, again, somebody that might as well have just stepped off the history books into the film. Completely unapologetic performance the whole time, anchored by a great ensemble with Amy Adams and Steve Carell and Tyler Perry, and the only thing I've ever enjoyed him in. My heart wants A Star is Born to win because I am a romantic. My favorite film in '97 was Titanic. I loved it when it won Best Picture. I love things that are big and operatic like this. You know, people say, what do you like better, Goodfellas or Casino? And I always, unpopular opinion, but I say Casino. I just love the larger canvas and the bigger ideas. I think the Best Picture is going to go to Vice. I don't want it to. I think it's just the Academy playing it safe. I think they're going to shy away from Black Panther. I think it's going to seem like too much of a political move if they award that movie Best Picture. BlacKkKlansman, again, it's dangerous subject for a bunch of old white men to reward,
Yep.
and that pisses me off because Black
Yep.
Klansman is a modern masterpiece. And I'd be happy if it won. Seriously, if Black Klansman walked away with Best Picture, I would throw my hands up. I'd say it's fantastic.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
But
Yeah.
I think Vice hits, again, all the bullet points of a Best Picture, and it's a very safe thing. And it's a shit ton of white people. I hate to say it, but I mean, I think
So if you were to vote between Black Panther and Black Klansman, do you think Black Klansman is better than Black Panther?
I would, yeah, I would say that just because Black Panther, while it's still awesome and a lot of fun, is still an effects-laden comic book movie, and has that's why Ryan Coogler didn't show up as Best Director, I think, because a lot of that film is directed in the computer, which is unfortunate, but doesn't lend itself to the traditional cinema ship that the Academy looks at. Black Klansman is a period piece that I bought from frame one to the credits, from the costumes to the production to the way people talked to the way cops acted. I thought Spike, he carried his agenda well, but in a way that everybody could finally enjoy it. And he gave you different perspectives from the white cops and the KKK. You actually found yourself sympathetic with one or two KKK members. Ultimately I thought Black Klansman is the strongest work, the most bravest piece among all of them. But A Star Is Born...
I totally agree. But I don't agree with you with Star Is Born. I don't think that is something that should be revered in compared to the rest of these.
Matt, do you think Bryan Singer's troubles are going to affect Bohemian Rhapsody's chances?
Ultimately, yes, I do. I don't think the Academy wants to court that kind of controversy right now. And you know what? If it hadn't just popped up in the news again a week or two ago, it would have been a surefire lock, or it could have sat easily next to the one or the, like, if there were two movies to pick from, I think Bohemian would have been fine there. But the news is fresh. People are now thinking about Bryan Singer and accusations and allegations. And if Rami Malek wins Best Actor, I think the Academy will feel we've thrown that movie a bone. That's it.
I don't agree with you with A Star Is Born. I think that it's a story that's been played out, where yes, there's it's a romantic story, but I don't think that it's one of the ones that I think it should be on the bottom. Vice is, I agree with you, I think is probably going to win. I really enjoyed Black Panther, but up against Black Klansman, I think Black Klansman was a better film. Both were one was more empowering than the other, but and as far as Bohemian Rhapsody, I think that if it was like an outstanding performance in a cast, that they might have, it might be a better category because all the actors all did very, very well portraying those different characters. But I don't think it should be considered Best Picture. But I can also kind of see them not voting for Vice, these old white men, because it does kind of shine a negative light on Cheney, and so so you either got black people or gay people or anti-Republican. So which one are they gonna pick? Because it's all, I mean, it's so weird that this is how we have to think about these
I was
things.
just thinking that it really sucks that we have to consider the political movements of
movements
these people
of the day.
I really wish we could just judge the damn craft.
Yeah, exactly. But we can't, and here we are.
Here we are.
I don't think the favorite should even be in this category.
Agreed.
Roma was great. I like the story, but like you said, it's sad and it's also just strange. Kind of like I said before, like a film noir, like a French student film. Well, actually, no, I said that about Cold War. So, sorry. I think in order of who I think should win, the least would be probably Roma, the favorite, A Star Is Born, Green Book, Bohemian Rhapsody, and then it's going to be between Black Klansman, Vice, and Black Panther. But I think if they're going to go for the black vote, so to speak, I think it should be Black Klansman and not Black Panther.
Yeah, I would agree. And isn't it interesting that the category of Best Picture actually has very similar films? You have two movies about race. You have two movies about unlikely friendships. You have two music pictures that are all about the rise of rock stars. And, you know, and then that's the thing. Things like Roma and Vice are so far outside of the thread that they're spinning this year, which seems to be, you know, race and music.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think the Academy's done rewarding movies about unlikely friendships. That's why The Favorite is out. That's why Green Book is out.
Yeah.
So I think I also want Black Klansman to win, but I'd be happy if Vice does because it is a great film.
Yeah. But I think that it might even be more than might even do Bohemian Rhapsody because Vice has such a political thing. But again, to what you were saying before about the director of Bohemian Rhapsody, who knows? It's one of those things.
Yeah.
It's really an odd year because not only do we have 8 contenders, which makes it difficult enough to decide what is the best picture, but also, just as you guys have described, there's so much diversity in the sense that we have these musically based films and the racial prejudice based films, and some are kind of pandering, you know. One thing I wanted to mention was that if you lump in, I know it's not listed in the Best Picture category, but if you add in If Beale Street Could Talk into this discussion, it's very interesting to me that we have 3 films that all address racism and prejudice in America in their own way. You know,
yes.
We have Black Panther, which really takes the comic book interpretation of race relations, you know, and then we have Black Klansman, which is a gritty and down and dirty look at the topic, but still satirical in a way. It's like the sugar pill that goes around the medicine, you know, and
it's a good metaphor.
In that way, is it more impactful? I think it is. Then we have If Beale Street Can Talk, which also talks about police in America and race relations, but my concern is that it's, especially since it's not listed in the Best Picture nominees, more people should be talking about this film. More people should see it. And, you know, but I'm sure more people have seen Black Klansman than have seen If Beale Street Could Talk, and even more people have seen Black Panther than have seen Black Klansman.
Way more have seen Black Panther, yeah.
So,
as the second highest grossing film in 2018.
It's just interesting that we have 3 movies about similar, almost identical topics, but with different degrees of saccharine around them.
Yes.
That inversely relates to how many people are actually seeing the movie.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, as far as my picks for the Best Picture, there are definitely some that shouldn't even be on this list, like The Favorite and Roma. As far as Black Panther, I'm kind of middle of the road. Black Panther is one of my top favorite Marvel films. Should it be nominated for Best Picture? I don't know. Maybe not. It is a great popcorn cinema. But, you know, I think compared to Black Klansman or Vice, it's a distant second.
Well, also on another note, if you're going to put a Marvel movie up for Best Picture, I mean, I liked Black Panther, I did, but there was another one out there that I thought was just way more powerful and was just a stunning little piece. It just didn't get any nominations. I'm not sure why. Name escapes me right now. But, you know, it's good to see a comic book movie like Marvel getting, you know, that sort of recognition.
Well, I would have thought that initially when I heard that Black Panther was up for Best Picture, I didn't realize that Black Klansman was also up. So initially I thought, okay, well, this is just the Oscars pandering to the hashtag Oscars So White from last year or the year before.
Right.
And now looking at it, now seeing that the Black Klansman is in here, I'm wondering if I guess is it better odds for this type of movie, or empowering more black movies, or like, why isn't Rich Crazy Asians on this list? Yeah, beside the fact that I thought it was a terrible movie.
It had a lot of popularity. That's the only reason why it would have hit the list, I think.
Well, it's the same with like Bird Box, like this massive popularity of like a viral kind of a thing, and I wonder if that's what we're kind of seeing here is more of a pulp cultural change, or something that's influencing it in a way that would not normally be recognized.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, we have discussed all of our films. We have gotten the ins and outs of this year's Academy Awards. What are our final impressions of what we've spoken about today concerning Best Picture?
Ron, you want to take it?
Yeah, I'll take it. Best Picture, I got to say that I really hope that Black Panther or the Black Klansman make this. But I really think that it's going to be tough for the Oscars or for the Academy, or maybe this is their way of showing that they can, show that they're more modern. All the other ones in this category, I don't think they stand up. So it's either going to be one of those two, or most likely I think Vice is going to have it. So what about you, Matt?
I would love a Game Changer. I really would. I figure, I think Black Panther, if it won, would legitimize the blockbuster again. It would legitimize, I'm so sick of comic book movies being treated as something infantile and not being taken as a serious work of art. And really, Black Panther is probably the perfect entry to kick that door open. I mean, just revisiting it, it is really just an amazing, amazing offering from Marvel, which really doesn't do a whole lot of wrong these days. Mm-hmm. But if you're sticking to traditional cinema, something the Academy likes to reward for being audacious and brave, yeah, Black Klansman was a fantastic movie. Spike Lee at the top of his directing powers, really handling it in a way probably no other director could. But there's safe money in Vice, and it's not just a safe movie, it is a good movie, and if it is awarded, it won't be a purely political move, I don't think. No pun intended, it's a political film, but it is a deserving feature that is expertly crafted, well acted, and really is just a solid entertainment.
Yeah, I totally agree that it was a very, very powerful movie. So I guess you're right. It won't necessarily be. It could be construed as to not being politically motivated. I mean, it's a great excuse for the Academy to not vote for Black Panther or Black Klansman.
But I hope they don't.
One way to look
I hope they award Black Panther. I'm pulling for Black Panther.
Yeah.
On the Black Panther debate, I'm torn because, as I've mentioned before, I feel like Black Panther is one of the top Marvel movies that they've put out in the last 10 years. I think it's one of the best. I think it is a superb movie. And I guess if you're looking at it as a gateway for more popular fare to become more highly respected, then it definitely could be that. I feel like Vice and Black Klansman are very important films for our time and should definitely be regarded as such and honored as such. I'm worried that no matter what happens this year, it's going to be one of those years that we look back on 5, 10, 15 years from now where they say, oh, this was the more popular film, but this one won the Academy Award.
Yeah,
they have those lists of these are the Academy Awards for this year, but this was the film that everybody remembers. And they're all memorable films. I think everyone should see each of these top contenders that we're mentioning. Everybody should see Black Klansman. Everybody should see Black Panther, and everybody should see Vice.
You can watch The Favorite on an airplane.
Yeah.
Yes, and feel free to interrupt it at any time you need to.
That's great. That's great.
So, but yeah, that's my general feeling about it.
Okay, so what are your guys' final thoughts about the Academy in general? Where you think it's going? In my opinion, I think that it's nice to see pictures like Black Panther and Black Klansman on the list. There hasn't been a lot of black actors that have won Academy Awards, and the first one was very recent. Or the second one was very recent as well. But I don't think you would see movies like this 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. So I think that the Academy has kind of moved a long way, or kind of moving forward, especially after the Oscars So White movement. But other than that, I think, and I hope one of these two win as more of a proof that the Oscars are getting more in tune with the rest of the world.
Well, with Black Klansman and Black Panther both, it's nice to see a film that is acknowledged in the awards as both a film and with actors that is not about slavery. That's really refreshing.
Yeah, that's so true. I haven't thought about it that way. What do you think, Matt?
I'm actually really surprised at how much the Academy's become a lightning rod for controversy, and in the end, it's hurting the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Oscar So White, the wrong envelope, the hostless year, the most popular film category is here. Oh no, now it's gone. I mean, they really they look like a bunch of Keystone Cops over there that don't know what the hell they're doing. And I remember watching probably one of my favorite Academy telecasts was 1992 when they awarded Unforgiven the Best Picture. That was one of the most watched telecasts of all time, and the show ran just like a ship, like a well-oiled machine. And but now the Academy is in newspapers, it's on TV, and the Academy's doing this. It's starting to sound like this totalitarian regime, and it goes all the way back to when Harvey Weinstein bought Shakespeare in Love's Best Picture Oscar. It would really just be nice to let the crafts and the films and the artists stand for themselves. You've probably heard the word Academy more in the last 2 years than you have in the history of the telecast. It needs to stop courting so much damn controversy and be about the movies again. And I don't think they can get out of their own way. I think they're starting to course correct, but I wanna give a warning. If you nominate two movies like Black Panther and Black Klansman and then go and give it to Vice, that is a very dangerous statement.
Yeah,
that is the ultimate participation trophy moment, and people will be incensed on one side or the other. So, it's going to be an interesting result.
Yeah, I feel like the Academy is very much similar to politics in America right now. We have big money influencing the outcome of decisions. We have token appointments being placed on things. We have participation trophies. We have people being rewarded through back channels later on after they did a solid for someone else. I mean, the corruption within the Academy is very much like the corruption in America today. So
yeah.
I guess each year I am hopeful that they will reward and honor the best participants that are nominated, but I'd say like 1 out of every 3 years it's just it's some type of joke where they're either throwing an award to someone because of their body of work and they give it to them for something that was not very good, or they honor someone brand new, fresh off the boat, who really hasn't demonstrated whether they are a good actor. It's just saying it's a good performance. And I guess that comes down to it. I mean, this is about best performance in the year, and so why not give it to a newcomer? But it is really awkward when you start seeing first-timers or second-timers going up against these established actors that have been with us for 30 and 40 years. So, again, each year I'm hopeful that they actually, the best participant wins, but every once in a while I'm disappointed with some type of blue ribbon prize. So
that's why I give more merit to the SAG Awards than I give to even the Globes or the Academy Awards, because it seems more honest, because but it's also amongst your peers. You're voting amongst, so I think I honor that more than even an Oscar.
Interesting.
Because sometimes you get the Hurt Locker.
Yeah. Well, it's like Melissa McCarthy won, or should have won, and they gave it to Glenn Close. That was the only one that I missed. I got all the other ones right. But I think that's kind of a broad, generalized opinion that, I like I said, I just hold more merit.
Thank you for watching our Walking Out of a Movie special edition about the 91st Annual Academy Awards.
Go ahead and post in the comments if you agree or disagree with our picks and opinions.
Please like, share, comment, and subscribe so we can keep you up to date with our regular updates.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.